Wall Productions.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Friday the 14th podcast. I'm your host, the Musawawan Franco, with my lovely co-host over here to my right side,
Yeah, somewhere on the screen.
left.
Manny Fresh. So good to be back. As always, the lovelier host is Franco. He's just a beautiful man to look at. That's why y'all join the streams to look at him. Y'all don't have to lie. I know y'all do.
It's been a minute.
Yeah,
Our
it
last
has.
episode was what, Barbarian?
Yes, it was. It was the episode that I had anxiety about because I thought you had to work that night, and I found that you
Oh yeah,
you were in the clear, and I was like, oh my gosh.
I worked tonight, but it shouldn't be a long episode either way.
Yes.
Today we're talking about Evil Dead Rises,
Mm,
new straight in theater movie, and
yes.
yeah.
Shout out to David Zaslav, the owner of Warner Brothers and Discovery, for taking this film and saying, "Hey, it's not worth a streaming release. It is worth the big screen." I found out that this had a budget of $17 million and made already 40 million.
Is it
So
40 million? I
what
on
did you read
here
more than?
it says 24.5 million.
What the heck? When I was at 3C Films was talking about it today, and he was like, "It made 40 million."
Uh,
So
I don't know. This is the first
he's
article on Google, but I mean, maybe it made 40 million. I don't know. You can never trust these first articles.
yeah. I just hope it makes its money back in an
Maybe it's
abundance.
domestic, and this one is for the U.S.
Oh, that's true.
That
That's
sounds about
true.
right. So
I still like the sound of domestic because it gives you that hope for more movies to come if the number's higher. In order for a sequel, you got to make double what you made, uh, used to make it. Excuse
oh
me.
no, see, it still says 23.5 million domestically on this one in its first weekend of
Then I'm
release.
gonna call him. I'm gonna give him a call. I'm gonna give 3C Films a. He's a much bigger YouTuber, but I'm gonna
Get
call
your
him
shit
personally and
together.
be like, Chris, you messed up, man. You got your numbers wrong. And he'd be like, no, you don't clean your ears right. You didn't hear me correctly. And I'm gonna say, you're right. I'm gonna hang up the phone call now. You don't know who I am, and I'm not gonna tell you how I got this number, and then just leave.
Yeah, everything I'm reading says 23.5 million. But either way, numbers don't matter
Yeah,
to
numbers don't
us
matter.
because we're just here.
We're here to
But
watch these movies.
yeah, was it a good movie? Was it a bad movie? Well, that's where you have to like wait and listen to find out. And we're gonna stall right now for a little bit because Mr. Fuentes is gonna join because he loves the Evil Dead franchise, and we're just waiting on
Yes,
him.
yes.
I guess while we're waiting, we can talk about I don't think last time we talked about on the last episode, but we will be taking a little break. This is the last episode of the season. Some stuff happened this season where it started off with me, Fuentes, and Juan, and then ended with me and Manny somehow. So
Yeah, it came back to we went full circle since 2019.
yeah, full
They
circle.
yeah.
But we're gonna be taking it back. Me and Manny. This is gonna be more probably a seasonal podcast. We'll probably pick up back in August or September. Probably run into December, and then keep it there for spooky season.
But there will be a lot of movies that we can cover when we come back because there's a whole. I just before I watched it again yesterday, there were like 5 or 6 horror movie trailers, and I was like, "This has been a year for horror films, man." Like,
Yeah,
they definitely are taking advantage of the box office because it's back, and they are just crushing it, dude. Like, I'm like, I just that it's to the point where I want to watch all these films that like probably won't even come out to be that great. I'm just like, I'm still gonna pay my money to see them. I still need to see The Pope's Exorcist, which I have not with Russell Crowe.
I don't even know what the hell that is, but that sounds like a movie I want to see. And even this year, I think I've seen more movies this year than I have the past 2 years combined.
I had an itching so bad to be back in the movie theater. When it got shut down, my you took away my quantum of like my what do you call them, a quantum of solace? They took that away, like Superman's quantum of solace, where you can go and the movie theaters were that for me. And when the pandemic hit, that was taken away from me. And I had to live my life in a world where people thought streaming was better than seeing it in theaters, and I disagree wholeheartedly. To the point that even Warner Brothers, the president of Warner Brothers says that they are no longer focusing on straight to streaming movies whatsoever. He says the money is in the theaters, and that is what we're going to put all of our money towards, making sure these movies are top notch.
With you saying that, what's your thoughts on Cinemark? Was it Cinemark? I think it was Cinemark announcing a few weeks ago that they're going to raise prices on different seating in theaters.
When I heard that, it was AMC that's trying to do
AMC,
that.
there you go.
Here's my thoughts. I think that's a bad move considering the fact that they were already facing bankruptcy during the pandemic. Things got really bad for them. Here's the thing. This is for moviegoers out there. I feel sorry for y'all because if y'all have a nice AMC where y'all live, I know that some of y'all subscribe to the Stubbs membership and get all these rewards and get to see multiple movies, and that's great. I'm glad you're having a good time. The AMC here absolutely sucks. I do not want to sit in that theater. I stay away from it. So this is no longer a problem I have to worry about. The only problem I had to worry about recently was the Cinemark Movie Club membership telling me that they were going to be going up $1 next month. So I was like, dude, as sad as it is, it's just $1 compared to what they're trying to do at AMC. You try to pull that crap with the AMC here, I'm like, dude, give me my seat for free. Um, it's just the quality, guys. This is not an attack on anybody who still goes to the theater because I go every once in a blue moon to buy the merchandise that they sell.
I
'Cause they have
went.
the best.
I think after our Scream episode, we talked about I want to go rewatch it, so we went and
Yeah.
there was no seats available at the good theater, so we went to that one, and man, that
Yeah.
was the worst
It's because
experience.
it's my backup. That's it. Like if there's no seats at Cinemark, I look for Alamo. If there's no seats at Alamo, it's like, all right, we're here. This is our final resting place. The soda machines never work. People are talking the entire movie. The seats are bad. Um, it just let itself go. After they sold it from Starplex to AMC, they did not fix everything else in the process. So that was super embarrassing on their behalf. Real sad. AMC, get your crap together or hire me and I'll make AMC great again. That's what my thing will stand for. My slogan will be I don't want to say the slogan because I feel like people are not going to hear me right. Make AMC great again is my slogan, and I will personally restore that theater with y'all's money, not my money.
Make
A
AMC
small
great
loan of
again.
$1 million.
2024.
Yeah, and just vote for me as president for AMC theaters, and I will go and restore what was my childhood theater and fix
We're in
everything.
the show now. What's up, guys?
How's it going?
It's going. Manny, I haven't seen you in a while. You look like you've evolved
I haven't
into
seen you.
like your mega form. You have like a
Yeah,
luscious hair, and you
I
look like
do.
a lion now.
I just let my hair continue to grow after we last saw each other. I said I'm
Dang.
not gonna.
Well,
I'm trying.
I'm gonna tell you right now, man. It's fresh.
Well, you look amazing too. You look
Thanks.
silky smooth and beautiful. Your setup looks great.
This camera. So what's going on? We
So
talking.
we're talking about making AMC great again.
Yeah, we want to restore it and make it good.
Not we, you.
Yeah, if y'all vote for me for AMC president of this area and AMC gives me their money, I will personally restore that theater to its greatest era and people will start going there and they will make their money back. And then they could talk about charging extra for different seating.
Get rid of all the rats.
Yeah, I will personally hire the Rat King from the Suicide Squad and have her come clear out the rats and everything will be great there.
I personally like the rats. You know, they keep me company because no one else is in the theaters.
And then I will put them in. I will take them a shower, and personally put them in tuxedos. That way, they do not scare the guest. Instead, they seem like they're just there to have a fancy good time. And little monocles. I'll put little monocles on them too, so they look very sophisticated.
Yes,
Yeah,
monocle rats in the theaters. I'm all for it, man.
yeah. People will
And
definitely be like,
and we could cut down on staff because they'll eat everything that gets dropped on the ground. You know, they don't have
"That's
to
true. I
clean
don't
up
need anybody to
anymore.
clean up." Yeah, I'll just open the door and
Exactly.
be like, "Do your job,"
Dude,
and they'll go
exactly.
clean
They'll
it.
eat all the
Don't get dirty.
popcorn. You know?
Yeah.
And then, all right, back
Damn.
to the back row. Back to the back row. This is our deal. You get to watch the movies as long as you eat all the crumbs that fall.
I think I'm gonna highly invest in that situation. That way we don't have to get rid of them. I will have to build them a small home though, so they have somewhere to sleep at night. Or people are going to question the way I treat my employees.
Like the whole theater's their home.
Yeah, well, I know, but we got to make some changes.
You can't stay here anymore, man.
I know. I'm sorry. I'll build you a house on the side. I think they'll be okay. There's a lot in the back that never sells, so you can buy some of that.
So I guess we get into it now that Fuentes is here. As always, if you're listening, y'all can follow us everywhere, social media. I'm honestly not using the Friday the 14th or even Emo Star Productions, honestly. On Instagram, you can follow Rastin Tacos. I post everything there. If you're not subscribed, subscribe now. Hit the subscribe button, whatever. And today we're reviewing Evil Dead Rise. Just came out this past Thursday, I believe, or Friday.
Yes.
And yeah, I think we already talked about the box office numbers. Or did we talk about it on there?
Yeah, we kind of went over what I thought I heard it made, and then you went over what Google's telling you, or where did you get your
it's
Google?
Collider, and then bloodydisgusting.com.
Okay.
And
that sounds like a very reputable source.
Yeah. So it made $23.5 million over the weekend domestically. I don't know what the budget was. Did you get the budget?
Let me see. The budget for Evil Dead Rise. Let me check that.
It says 19 million.
Damn.
I mean, it made over its budget then. I mean, it's just the first weekend.
Yeah, they made their budget back and then over, so that's good.
I mean, that's the hard thing about Evil Dead movies is like we all know it's like one of the what is that movie? A cult following type of thing. You know, people love it, but it's also still a cult following. Like if you make back your money, you're lucky.
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree on that. Yeah.
I think a lot of Evil Dead fans, from what I've seen, were iffy about it because how the franchise has been going. So that's pretty good. It was written and directed by Lee Cronin. And it stars Marabe Peace.
Marabe.
I don't know how to pronounce that. As Teresa, Richard Crouch Lee as Caleb, Anna Marie Thomas as Jessica, Lily Sullivan as Beth, Noah Paul as Bruce, Alyssa Sutherland as Ellie, Gabrielle Echoes as Bridget, and I don't know, is there any other top cast?
Morgan Davies is Danny and Neil Fisher is Cassie.
What did you say the box office was so far?
23.5 million.
Oh, Wikipedia is saying it's like 46.9 million.
That's what Manny was saying.
That's where 3 Films got his information then.
And it says the sources are Office Mojo and financial information, the numbers.
Well, there's a source called Financial Information. That sounds pretty sturdy to me. So I'm gonna.
Okay. Domestic means U.S. It doesn't mean worldwide. So worldwide it is 46 million. I just found that right now.
Okay, cool.
International 17 million and domestic's 28. So you were correct.
Oh well, thank God. I mean, either way,
it doubled its money pretty much.
Yes, it made its money. Yeah. That's what makes me happy because it gives me faith that they're gonna make more. When I see the numbers rise, I'm like, that means we're gonna get more, and that's always a big deal for fans of a certain franchise. I want more. I want an Ash versus Evil Dead season 4. That's what I want, and that's more than anything.
That's what I wanted to.
The synopsis reads on IMDb: a twisted tale of two estranged sisters whose reunion is cut short by the rise of flesh-possessing demons, thrusting them into a primal battle for survival as they face the most nightmarish version of family imaginable. Y'all want to rate it, or y'all want to wait for the ending to rate it?
I don't know. How have you been doing it?
We've been rating at the beginning, but I don't know. How do y'all want to rate it?
I'll rate it. I mean,
all right, Fuentes, you're first.
Okay.
Out of 5.
5 Danny Trejos.
5 Danny Trejos.
I was thinking about this while I was taking a shower a second ago.
Oh.
It was one of them shower thoughts. What I should give it, and I really need to go watch it again. but I would like to say I want to give this a 4.5.
It's very
That's
solid.
good.
What were your thoughts after leaving the? What were your thoughts before going in and after leaving the movie theater?
Before going in, I was hoping for like some like Easter eggs of like old Evil Dead stuff. Um, I mean, and there kind of was, but almost like in a modern twist kind of way. Like
Yeah.
you see a chainsaw, you're like, oh, okay, it's a chainsaw. I guess that's kind of like an Easter egg, but it looks nothing like the original chainsaw whatsoever. Um, but going in, that's kind of what I was hoping for, was more of those, even maybe some hints onto the past movies. And then coming out, I was, I feel like it's really a spoiler, but coming out, I was thinking more about it, and I was like, man, if I was just a horror fan, I would definitely give it a 4. If I was just, but as an Evil Dead fan who wanted to see more Easter eggs, I wanted to give it a 3.5. And then the more I thought about it and the more I kept thinking about the movie, I was like, man, that movie was, and like actually Manny's review that he wrote on Facebook really got me like thinking about like the movie in general. And I was like, you perfectly worded it. I even quoted it to a friend who asked me how was the movie, and I was like, I wanted to crawl out of my skin the whole time. Like I was like, that's the perfect way to explain it. Like it was very disturbing the entire time you watched it, and you just like you felt uncomfortable the entire time, and that's exactly what a horror movie is. And I, you know, yeah, I was. The more I dwelled on it, I really would like to go back and watch it again to see with like this new perspective, and watch it a second time. That I would actually probably see. Oh shit! Okay, this is really cool. Okay, yeah. No, he's absolutely right. This does make me want to crawl out of my skin still.
Before you go, Manny, I'll rate it. Before going into it, I'd never seen any Evil Dead movie at all, so I didn't know what to expect besides a book with demons. But afterwards, I came out with beginning to end. It had you on your edge of your seat pretty much, with a little bit dead air here between just for story. But there's so much creepiness to it that I loved, and it just kept you on the edge of your seat. And yeah, I give it 4.5 out of 5.
I think that's very well. I give this a solid 4.5 as well. From the aspect of horror, just the start of this film, if you are a horror fan, it just was an entrance into what you can expect throughout the rest of it. I myself went into it being like, I want this to be good because I love the franchise and I want this to maybe introduce new fans. Uh, and so then I also said, I think there's kind of an understanding you have to have with the Evil Dead franchise. You got to know that it plays with itself. There is some like humor in it. Um, uh, and if you don't understand that when the Deadites speak, you may be like, that's just stupid. You know, like I had, I'm just gonna say it. My review. Thank you for saying that about my review. It means the world. I had a cousin who loved it and then shared it and was like, "Don't waste your money on this movie." I ended up laughing more than I enjoyed it, but I was like, I don't think laughing at it was a bad thing because if you know the Evil Dead franchise, you laugh at some of the stuff that goes on. So I was like, even in your dislike for the film, you're still praising it because it accomplished that balance of both, campy horror with actual intense horror. I wanted to see so many Easter eggs, and the Henrietta's Pizza was also an Easter egg. Henrietta is the name of the demon in the Evil Dead Dead by Dawn. When they start saying Dead by Dawn, that's the name of Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 2 Dead by Dawn. And then the opening shot when they're going through the forest, the camera, the angle, very like homage to the what's it called. So yeah, I said, and the reason I'm saying this is because I noticed just the Henrietta when I saw it, but I saw it a second time. And so the second time I was like, I'm gonna look for every Easter egg that I possibly can in this film because I want the Easter eggs. And some of it is there. Yes, the chainsaw was a big thing. That's why if you paid attention with those scenes, it kind of gave like the time for the audience to react. Like in No Way Home when Andrew Garfield, if you watch it like on your screen, Andrew Garfield kind of stays there for a bit, and it's like, oh, okay. But like in the theater, when you stay there for a bit, everybody's like clapping. He gives the audience that time. So the movie pulled that with her with the chainsaw, and And yeah, and so I feel like a solid 4.5. The first viewing of this film, it did make me feel very uncomfortable, uneasy, like wanting to crawl out of your skin. And to me, that's an up, because I want a horror film to mess with my emotions in some way. It's like you go into these films like, please be scary. That's the first thing, you know what I mean? And now with like the Conjuring universe and the Insidious universe, where storyline was introduced, now I'm going in for both sometimes. You know, like even if it doesn't scare me the most, was the storyline good? And I think this movie balanced both, and the gore was just, uh, man, everything I wanted.
This is very gory.
Yeah, it is so bloody. This movie.
I want to ask a question because this is I think something Juan's hit me with before, and I really don't have an answer myself more than maybe there's just something more I wanted. But we all give it 4.5. Why not give it the solid 5? What's missing? What's missing from it for you to give it the solid 5?
I didn't understand the Easter eggs because I haven't seen any of the other ones. So
That's it.
I understood the chainsaw because I know that obviously I know that guy Ash, but that's about it.
I think what stops me from giving it the solid 5 is when I look at these films from a franchise perspective. Oh my gosh, that is beautiful. That's the vinyl?
Yeah, for the game.
That is so sick. I have the game. I just saw that they released the DLC, and it has the dad now and different skins for Pablo.
Y'all were talking about blood a second ago, so I looked up how much blood it was used, and 6,500 liters, which is 1,700 gallons of blood.
That is beautiful, and that is crazy. That is a lot of blood, dude. That is beautiful. Gosh, that's a troubling question, and I think the reason I say that it's a troubling question is because I think it's in the reason I can't. Okay, so it's like you give it a 4.5. What's stopping you from giving it the 5? And I think what's holding me back is knowing that it's a franchise in the previous films. I look at those and I'm like, can I say Rise is above the other ones? Mm-hmm. And if I can't say that, and I hold those in high regard, then it's like, then I cannot give you the 5. You know, like I can't give you the 5. But to me, the 4.5 is still very solid, and I think it holds up. Again, I took my younger brother to see this movie. He had never seen any of the Evil Dead movies. At the end of it, he was like, I actually enjoyed that movie, and now I want to watch the movies. And I was like, thank God. So now people are watching it, and they actually want to see more. And all that says to me as a fan is that we gonna get more. We gotta get more Evil Dead stuff. So like, as a fan, I'm sitting there with a smile on my face, like, hate the movie if you want. I'm looking at the numbers, and I know that there's gonna be announcing some more Evil Dead soon. So I mean, more power to the fans than that.
I think it did make me want to go rewatch the other ones, but then I was talking to a coworker, and he said no, that part 2 is probably the best one. I was like, okay, then I ain't gonna watch any of them. So that's probably another reason why I'm not giving it a 5.
No, dude. You like the other ones are enjoyable, and I would definitely still go watch those. Because people are gonna be biased all the time. Like I just sat through all the Indiana Jones films. I thought Temple of Doom was my favorite, and then I go and listen to the fans that have been there for years, and they're like, Temple of Doom is the one that sticks out. That's not even the best one. I'm sitting there like, did I do something wrong? You know, like like. So I would say go and watch these, because for you it could be like, oh, I think Army of Darkness is the greatest one in the franchise. You get what I'm saying? So I think that going back to watch them, you'll be able to form your own opinion and your own liking to the franchises compared to, you know, what the fans outside of it will say.
I think for me, it's like I always want to give movies room to grow, because your ratings are never always your ratings like for life. I give it a 4.5 right now.
Yeah.
They come up with a follow-up film that just kind of like meshes into this one and makes the first one stand out even more. It's just like, wow, the first one was so well done. And then the next one was like well done as well. Like, and together it's just like, oh man, it's like, you know, this is really awesome. Like I would, like for me, I want what you want. I want there to be more. I want there to be a continuing story. I want to see what happens next. And if something good happens next, it can make this one like just such a good, it was such a good movie that it gave the follow-up, which gave us another great movie. So now, you know what? This movie is a 5. But right now, as it stands on its own, which it's not really standing on its own, but it is standing on its own to me and the way I feel about it. I can't give it a 5 until I see what happens next. If this is all I got, then 4.5.
Yeah.
Maybe later in the line, 5, whatever. But right now, for like you said, solid 4.5. And also, like you said, that would have to mean that if I give this one a 5, I would have to go back and say all the other previous movies are a 5 because I love all the previous movies as well.
Yeah.
And the TV show and everything that's like with
so
the
good.
franchise. And I'm not even gonna say this franchise is perfect. That everything gets a 5. Like, you get a 5.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of my feeling about it.
Yeah. No, I agree with that because it is in a way its own standalone because a lot of the main themes from the franchise are there, but it's different as far as like how they come across in Necronomicon, how they play the tapes, compared to the original way it was done. And going back to watch it a second time, I was kind of able to like sit and see like the time frame, like the tapes were from 1923. So if this movie is set in modern time, 2023, it has been 100 years so that this demon has been, I guess you would say, trapped because it was. That's kind of that's the feeling that I got from how they discovered it and where it was, with everything that was there. That this feeling was trapped. Perfect. Thank you.
We could get into it. Spoiler warning: if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. It's in theaters right now. If you have not seen the movie and you still want to listen, go ahead. By all means, I usually do that on the podcast, like Simul Podcast. But yeah, spoiler warning. We're about to start talking about it.
Yes, we are.
What y'all think about the opening scene? The first, roughly 10 minutes. It was in the opening shot. I thought was really good. You said that it reminded you of the other movies.
Yes.
It reminded me of just what year was the first one made? 80s?
1980. 90s? It was the 80s, but
1980 something.
It reminded me of the 80s, just how different shots are made like that and whatnot. And I thought it was a really good opening sequence with just it's what they're called, drone coming in.
Oh yeah, and it turns out to be a drone, and then
I thought that was so it was so good use of that type of camera framing, and then and then modernizing it with our drones.
With the drone, it would make it definitely make sense.
You got me, bro.
Because right off the bat, I was already thinking like, dang, they're introducing the force, like this demonic force that fast, and then it's a drone, and you're like, okay, that was perfect. That was good. I like that. That was really good.
Yeah, I think the opening scene was amazing.
Yes.
So that part it already got me chuckling because I've watched the previous Evil Dead movies. I was like, okay, this is very obviously an Easter egg or whatever you want to call it, callback, paying homage to the old to the thing. So I was like, oh, this is really cool. But the scene where she rips the hair and skin off the top of her head, I was just like, oh my god, it's so disgusting.
Yes.
What the hell? I'm about to be in for a crazy ride. I just knew right off the bat, watching that, I was like, oh my god, this movie's about to be insane. It set the tone for sure.
It did. The fact that she's reading the book, not even looking at the pages, and is just reading it off the what's it called, I was already like, oh my gosh, this that's a force to be reckoned with. And the way that she just kind of sits there, her friend sits there kind of freaked out, but not completely freaked out. One or two questions gonna run through my head: either what is wrong with you, or you didn't tell me you had powers. Because it's you how do you know I'm reading that? How do you know I'm reading this?
Have you read this book before?
Yes, and then even then, the fact that the Deadites quoting the book while she's ripping her scalp. Let me in, and it pulls the skin off, and I was just like, and then it after it kills the boyfriend and throws his head on the deck, I was like, and it all builds to the crescendo of her coming out of the water, and Evil Dead Rise comes up behind it, and the soundtrack, it just really set the tone for the movie. Yeah, I was sitting there oh my gosh, and the people next to my brother and I, the guy was like, that was a solid opening. That he just said that right off the bat. He's like, I like this already. That was a really good opening, and I was like, perfect. I'm so glad that y'all agree with what's it called, with the idea.
I love the cinematography of it and just the way the letters were Evil Dead Rise and everything. I was like, yo, that's fucking solid. My favorite opening of this year was Scream 6 so far, but with that one, I'm like, that one topped it by far.
Scream 6 really did have a great, as far as horror goes, like Scream 6 had the perfect opening. This one really did set the tone of the film, and I was just like, dude, oh my gosh, that
I'm
was
gonna tell
so
you.
great.
I'm gonna tell you my honest thoughts when I was watching this. This girl's horrified seeing her friend levitating, and then these letters coming like, "Oh my God, she's floating!" and "Oh my God, there's letters coming up from the camera!" Like, what is happening? that's all I could think about the whole time I was watching it. It was the girl's perspective, like she makes letters in the sky. And like, oh my God, this is terrible.
And they're bloody.
Yeah, and there were pictures from the Necronomicon within the letters, the Evil Dead Rise. It's like the artwork from the Necronomicon that's in it. So when it says Evil Dead Rise, yeah, man. So again, that even stamped it for being like watching it a second time. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm in love with this. I want to kiss the screen, but you can't do that at a movie theater. So,
how many times have y'all seen the trailer before watching this movie?
I seen the trailer, mainly not looking because I saw it. No, actually, I saw it a lot because I go to the movies a lot, and I get there before the trailers start, and I saw it again and again and again, and I told my fiance at one point, we're gonna have to come a little later because I don't want these trailers to wear out. It got to the point where I was like, "Mommy's with the maggots now." Like that was in my head all the time. The mommy's with the maggots now. Like that just played constantly in my head. Or you're gonna be a good mom because you know how to lie to kids. Like that. Those two. So I saw the trailer a handful of times prior to seeing the movie.
Yeah, I saw it a few times as well.
I think I only saw it once, maybe twice. I was just avoiding it, to be honest. Every time I saw it, like on my thing, I would just.
I try, yeah, because if I was listening to YouTube, I would skip it. But when I'm in the theater, I'm sitting there like, all I can do is close my eyes and ears. It's there's no place to run out, and the trailer would come on. So I was like, okay.
I usually avoid trailers, but I've been going to movies a lot this year.
Yeah.
Like Guardians 3, I was avoiding that trailer, and I saw it during one of the recent movies I saw, or I think during Mario. I was like, damn it, I didn't avoid that one. But in my head during that, I was like, how are they gonna connect this back later on? Because I was like, the movie takes place like within the city, within a apartment, from what I remember from the trailer. So like, how are they gonna come back to how are they gonna end it in the cabin? And just the way they brought everything back, I thought was really good.
It's crazy because you say that like, and I think because it says one day earlier when it shows the apartment. But I got so intrigued with that storyline that at the end, when the connection does happen, I'm there like, oh yeah, this is a day earlier. And I was like, oh shit. So that was for me, like you said, like, oh, you sat there like, how are they gonna reconnect this? To me, I sat there like, oh man, yeah, the opening, like, oh gosh.
See,
I was like, that's a day later.
I was thinking that at the beginning, like right after it said one day earlier. I was like, how are they gonna end over there in the cabin? But then like the whole thing went on, and at the end I was like, okay, well they connected it pretty well, honestly.
It's crazy because this in the franchise itself, this stuff is usually confined to the cabin. And then in the Ash versus Evil Dead series, it's confined to the small city that Ash is from. But now with this movie, this demon's no longer confined to like what we're used to. So now this Deadeye can run havoc, because that's said in the movie that the pastor's like through complete chaos. That's how they tore. And I'm like, now this demon can wreak havoc like wherever the hell it wants. Now the world's kind of screwed because you're not confined to just the cabin in the woods. Now it can be the cabin in the woods, the apartment next door. So if you hear happenings going on with your next door neighbor, just lock your doors. Lock your doors, because
hide your kids, hide your wife.
It's
coming for everyone.
New York rules.
Yeah, exactly. This one was California, right? Yeah, LA, because it says it on the license plate, California. Yeah.
Yeah, but what do you want to talk about? What favorite scenes do you have?
Well, I do want to point something out. Maybe though, the book was in Los Angeles underneath this thing, but it still made its way back to a cabin or to the woods. So maybe its home source is just always gonna be.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Like it made its way back. It never. I mean, it could have went anywhere.
Well, the demon went back, right? But the book stayed at the apartment complex.
The book's probably still there. Yeah.
Yeah, the book. Yeah. So if the people that when the cleaning crew come in to tear down the building, let's just say they're tearing it down or they're because remember they
Oh,
say what a month
I
left.
forgot it was tearing down.
Yeah, they got a month left. Let's just say the manager goes in there to like, hey, it's been a month, and then realizes, oh shit, like, because remember, no maintenance was done to this building. You hear multiple people complain about that in the film. So let's just say they go in there like, I got to make sure all the residents are out. The guy goes in to clean the building and then realizes, oh my gosh, like dead bodies, and then goes to the apartment, sees the Necronomicon, and then you know opens it up. What is that? Well, could that release a second demon? And then now you got Havoc in the woods where it's chilling, and in California where it's kind of running amok. It's just, yeah, I guess it's one of I hadn't thought about that till now, but damn.
Now you got me thinking. I was just like, well, I mean, the stairs were destroyed, the elevator was destroyed.
Yeah.
Like nobody's gonna rebuild any of that stuff. Like, there's no way anyone's actually going back up there.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
just gonna blow up the place. Like at
okay.
this point.
But then the Necronomicon survives.
But then
because you can't burn it.
Just in a pile of rubble underneath. So it came out just to go back in, like.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I don't think it would stay in there. You know, I have a feeling they'd pull one of those, like, the beginning starts with the homeless man walking by the rubble, and then sees that, like, the book just sitting there. Yeah, and then he's like, accidentally cuts his finger.
There's a perfect explanation. It was the 8th floor, so everything falls and of it fell.
Yeah, it was able to sit at the top of the building. That'd be, yeah. We gotta copyright these ideas just in case they do appear in the next film. All you gotta do is give us a chance to be on the red carpet and read Bruce Campbell, and I think I'd be okay. You can take any idea I throw out, but
all I want to do is walk up to him and say, "Groovy."
Yeah, I want to hug him. Gosh, he's such a perfect human being. Yeah. I want to hold his hands just to make sure they're both there. There's not a secret chainsaw up his sleeve.
Favorite scenes for me, I think like one of the scenes that like got me like out of all of them was whenever the little not the little girl but the sister got possessed, like the second possession, and she was sitting on top of the counter eating the glass thing. Like that just made me like just watching her eat the glass freaking like thing. Yeah, and then going down her neck and like poking her throat, like it just like it made me crawl. It was such a good scene though. Like it was just
yes.
It definitely made my skin crawl though. I was just like, oh, and it was a really good scene. It was probably one of my favorite scenes. I mean, there was a lot of good scenes. There was a lot of good scenes in this movie, to be honest.
Yeah.
My favorite scene was the peephole scene.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah,
and exactly like that too. I was gonna say the peephole scene.
The camera view of it like was amazing shot, and just the way she basically killed everyone except for the kid. I didn't like the kid dying, but that happens in movies. But
yeah, the Deadites don't give two shits.
Yeah, I thought that was shot, and then when it goes back to the peephole scene where she's trying to lure the youngest daughter. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Open up now. Like no. Like mommy and daddy are getting back together. So actually, he's like she pretends that he's off to the side, and the little girl opens it, and it's just the next scene is her like being held up, like screaming. But you know what I thought was a really good scene was they do the. And she's like, I tied her up just in case, and it shows the bed and this the sister Beth, right? She's all not Beth, Bridget. She's all tied up. Her body, what they think is dead, is in the bed sitting there. But I thought was like kind of eerie to me. That kind of freaked me out was when the little girl's like walking towards Danny, and she's talking to Danny, and you just see this. You see Bridget in the sheet, like levitating behind her, like coming around the corner. And they don't even realize it, and then Danny turns like screams, like points out to Cassie, and then she just like is levitating and jumps on top of Danny at one point. I just thought that was like that's kind of really eerie. Like it's just you're looking at one shot, and then there's that corner shot of like what the hell. Or also when when Beth is listening to the tapes, and Ellie starts to crawl out of the ceiling, and you see it from like behind. It also like it to me it kind of reminded me of the Amazing Spider-Man whenever Stan Lee's listening to the music in the library and Spider-Man and Lizard are fighting in the background and he doesn't hear any of it. But the way it's shot though is like you just see Beth and in a distance you see that like her crawling out of the ducts. I thought that scene was like really good. It was one of those if I was a loudmouth I'd be yelling at her to turn around, but
Turn around!
turn around! It's right behind you. But man, they even paid homage to The Shining, which I thought was cool. The elevator scene opening up and all the blood pouring out. That was like the elevator scene from The Shining. I thought that was cool. They mentioned Freddy. We're gonna have a marathon and watch all the Freddy ones, and the kid's like even the shitty ones.
And there isn't
like,
any shitty
there are
ones.
no shitty ones. But yes, yeah. I agree with the peephole scene. That was I think that deserves more credit because anytime a movie can add its own little one shot that they are like, oh, because then everybody starts to use the peephole scenes. The only time that I've really seen peepholes used besides 1408, which it's not used too much, just for him to see out there, and the cable guy. Whenever Matthew Broderick's looking through the peephole and Jim Carrey's like pretending to run off and then come back. But this one found a way to be like, no, we're going to take that and do more with it. We're going to show all these deaths and just keep it restrained to a peephole. And that to me was like that solid.
It did like all the deaths right then and there. Like I was like, oh,
yes.
There's like so many people I can see dying in this, like all these characters. I'm like, they're obviously going to be dead except for the family. I was like, how are they going to die? And then that one scene took out everybody. I was like, oh.
It just answered your question.
But I enjoyed it, and it felt to me it felt more like a found footage shot as well.
Oh yeah, that's true
too. It was like one shot.
Yeah,
it was like a one take music video from by Mr. Fuentes.
Damn, like that?
Yeah, like that. He invented it. But
you gotta pay him.
I don't think anybody did terrible. There was no character that made you hate them or made you like that was an asshole or anything or sucked. Like I think all of them did very well. Even the son, what's his name? Danny? Is it?
Yeah, Danny.
Sure, he opened up the book and everything, but like he wanted to help out his mom who was struggling with money and everything. So like no one. There's like no asshole character pretty much.
Yeah, I don't think there ever. And I do like the banter between the siblings, which kind of sold it for me. There's you have Bridget, who's very more Gen Z, and the character is made to be like that, from the way she speaks and stuff, to the point where when Beth is talking about where she's been, Danny's like, oh, so did you drink so and so blood? And then she's like, that's insensitive. And then she goes, oh, I'm sorry, should I call it like monkey brain juice or whatever? And it pisses her off even more. I like that. Having siblings, it gives you that sense of like, and then like even when Cassie uses Stephanie to hit Bridget, and then Bridget jumps on Cassie and it breaks Stephanie, and then she's coming at her with the freaking other end of the stick, and like she's trying to hide in the sister's room, which then did foreshadow because she's like, "Don't worry, Stephanie will protect us." And that scene, which was honestly one of my favorites, is whenever Bridget's coming at her as the Deadite, and she just like sticks the thing right through her head. I was like, oh my gosh, that is crazy. So, yeah, I don't think I had any character that I was like, I hate this character. I hope they die. I don't think I had that for this film at all. Sad.
It was pretty crazy too, because like compared to like besides Ash versus Evil Dead, like in any of the other movies, or I guess I can't say besides because I don't really count Army of Darkness as like the original Evil Dead like movies, but
it was something.
you have them like at the end like become like this three human monster thing.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool because I don't think I've ever really seen that in any other Evil Dead
Never been
movie
done.
so far.
Yeah.
That they're creating the monsters that are in the books, because you see pages of the Necronomicon and stuff throughout the movies and things, and you never see stuff like that get recreated. And it was just really cool because they flip to the book scene and you just see this jumbled up like humanoid thing, and then you're like, wow, are they about to like show that? Like, oh, that's kind of crazy. Like,
oh yeah, that is true.
I was like, that was really awesome. Like, that was out of the box for me. Like, thinking, it kind of makes me feel cool because I know that I think I'm not 100%. I mean, you probably know the answer to this, Manny. But the last Evil Dead reboot remake that got done, was that by Sam Raimi?
No.
It was someone
No.
else.
It was by somebody else.
Okay.
The 2013?
The 2013 with Jane Levy?
Yeah, it's Fede Alvarez.
Yeah, Fede Alvarez. There you go. I was trying to remember his name.
Sam Raimi was a writer, though. They credit him as a writer.
Was he a writer on this one as well?
I believe so.
I thought he was a producer on this one.
Oh, no,
because Bruce Campbell was. Oh, yeah.
The writer was just Lee Cronin.
Yeah, so I remember, I think it's kind of cool when someone else, like, because that's kind of like how when people talk about things, like someone that invents the toaster, and someone else figures out a way to make the toaster even better than that one. And sometimes they don't. But I think in this case, this person's using the original ideas and now evolving them to be, I think, in my opinion, I don't want to say better, but more modern, more digestible, they're coming up with ideas that maybe even the original people didn't come up with.
Yes.
And I think that's really cool. That's another reason I want to see this franchise expand. I want to see more from this, because just that one scene of them trying to recreate a humanoid monster, I was like, dude, like, what else are y'all gonna try to do? Like, because now you're making a humanoid monster, the next movie you have to come up with something even crazier than that, I think the first time I watched Ash vs. Evil Dead, and you see the first monster, I forget what the name of it is, but it's whenever Pablo goes to his uncle's, the shaman's house, and you see the brain monster like that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, they're pulling demons out of the freaking book now. Like,
yeah,
awesome. Like, I was so happy to see like those demons finally being like metamorphosized into like real things,
real characters in the franchises, compared to just seeing them in the Necronomicon.
Exactly. And that's what I thought was really cool. Like with this one, that was one of my, at least, aspects. If we were talking about favorites, that's one of my favorite aspects, is that they're to me, it's evolving. It's getting more. They're doing more with it now, and I'm excited about it. I want to see the next thing, what they're gonna do.
I mean, I agree with you on that. These directors making it their own thing, and especially introducing a character like what we saw in the book, and then you have this three-headed or three-bodied creature that they're fighting at the end, was really cool. It's something that you hadn't seen in the other ones. And anytime that a director takes their own take on it, but still pays homage to previous directors and previous writers, I respect it. And the Fede Alvarez one, the story for that one was kind of interesting. He had seen Evil Dead 2 when he was younger, went to a video store. The guy let him rent it when he was like not even old enough to watch it, and was like, go home, watch it, it's really good. He goes home to watch it, and said it creeped him out so much that he had just remembered that his whole life, being like, that movie scared me the most. So when he went to make his version, he didn't go back to watch Evil Dead 2. He just used what he remembered from as a kid, because he wanted to create that same feeling of horror for his take on it. So I just I thought that was really cool when Fede Alvarez did it. I think it's cool that we get this take from Lee Cronin, right? Lee Cronin. I can still see you're still moving. You're still moving.
Froze.
Oh
yeah, you're still good. Yeah, you're still good.
I think I froze. I don't know what's happening, but you're all back now.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I agree with that. That was really cool. I can't wait to see again what other creatures they bring from the Book of the Dead onto the big screen.
The only thing I'm upset about for part two is that they killed off this character, Teresa. I think she did so well, and is it Teresa, right? The mother?
Oh, the mom's name, the mom?
Yeah, is it
Oh,
Teresa? What's her
oh,
name?
her name's Ellie. I guess Teresa's her real name in real life.
No. Oh, my bad, Ellie. I don't know why they have
What
Teresa at
is
the top of the cast.
is that?
Teresa's sister.
Beth was the sister.
Okay, they have Teresa as a top cast for the like main person, but I don't know. Ellie.
Oh, that was the girl at the beginning of the movie. Oh wait, let me see. Yeah, the girl at the beginning
Yeah,
was
that was the
Teresa.
girl at the
The
beginning.
one in the
Oh, okay,
cabin,
okay.
the
Well,
scalp.
yeah, Ellie, Alyssa Sutherland. I think she did like phenomenally well, and she died. So like, I don't know how. I'm assuming part two, if they make a part two, will have the one at the very beginning as the main one, maybe. So I'm hoping
Oh
she
yeah, that's
does well
true.
as well,
Yeah.
but I guess we'll see. But I think she did phenomenally well as the mother and as the Deadite. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Uh
Mhm.
huh.
So that's the only thing I'm upset about in it for part two.
Oh, that she portrayed it so well. Yeah, it's just one of
Yeah.
those things. If this went the route of um of like the Evil Dead franchise, and she had cut off the part that was infected, like Ash cuts off his hand, then we could have seen her again. But unfortunately, no, she didn't, and because of that, we will not be seeing her again unless they decide to do a flashback, or somehow, I don't know. The Deadeye can do whatever it wants, so if it wants to piece together her, then that's up to how this Deadite wants to work.
Did you like notice how like the little meat pieces were vibrating at the end? Like whenever like the little whenever that chick was like trying to leave and you kept seeing
Oh
like the
yeah,
blood and all the other stuff, but you see like
yeah.
it looked like it had life still, like all the little pieces.
Well, when you listen to the tapes again,
Uh-huh.
the priest says, "I chopped them into a million pieces. I dismembered their body, and I buried them, and they formed together again. I
Yeah.
cannot get rid of these things." So in my head, I was like, so at the end when you see the little pieces moving, I'm like, that's possible that it's forming itself together again because the priest already said he couldn't take it out, and it was doing that. He's like, I set them on fire, and they danced in the flames, and I was like, yo, that sounds like chaos, man. Like this, it sounds something that a Deadite would do, just mess with you completely. Um, I definitely would never want to be in this situation. I would be 100% honest. Like I would have been the neighbor that was like, yo, that sucks. I am out. Like I'm just bye, bye. That would be me. I'm not going to be the guy that's like, can I pray for her, or can I, like the next door neighbor when he opens the door to go in and see that everything's okay because he hears the commotion. Like no, that is not my problem. Because no, not in this universe, brother. I can't. I don't want to end up like the becoming a deadite.
But yeah, I mean, I don't even know. Like you said, I don't know how a part two would really work. And I think so far, like these movies are doing pretty well as like standalone stories that randomly like the book just keeps popping up places it probably shouldn't be all the time and things happening.
That's true.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they made a pretty coherent story with Ash versus Evil Dead. But even then, like, I think whenever you watch Evil Dead 2, and I'm sure there was a reason for it, but it looks like it's kind of like a reboot of Evil Dead 1
It's called a
slash.
requel. Yeah,
Yeah.
a requel. That's what they called
So,
it.
so really,
Yeah.
it's just still one movie, quotation marks,
Yeah,
and its own story. And then you get Army of Darkness, which everyone
which
always
again is
says
its own
it's like
story.
it doesn't even really count
Yeah,
as part of the Evil Dead
yeah,
franchise. Is how
yeah,
everyone puts it. Every time you like talk about it, it's just like it's its
yeah,
own standalone movie, which it is.
yeah,
Like, when you don't really need to know any of the backstory from Evil
yeah,
Dead 2 to watch Army of Darkness and be like, oh well. I mean, the only difference is you know who Ash is and all the crap he's been through.
yeah, yeah.
That's the
And then
main
and then in
difference.
Evil Dead 2, that's when Ash becomes like the badass. Because he's
Yeah.
kind of like a scaredy cat in the first two films, and then at the end of part two, Ash becomes the badass that we love, like the
Mm.
chainsaw wielding, which ends to the portal at the end of two, which gives us Army of Darkness. But you're right, within their own aspect, they are their own thing, their own franchise. And I think the driving force, unless you watch Ash versus Evil Dead, which really did focus on Ash's story and
Mhm.
everything to go with that, it all connected. So I guess if they want, they could pull that the Necronomicon be the driving force. That as long as that book exists, it can attack any family. It can have any group of characters. So you're not having to worry about, well, that girl wasn't from part one, or what happened to the girl from part two. It's like, no, every Evil Dead brings a new set of characters, a new story, but you know from the get go how the book works. So you're not going in there like, oh wait, well, this doesn't make any sense, or they don't have to explain it in every film. Like, oh, it's because they read the book, the Book of the Dead. That's why this demon's attacking them. You'd only have to see the first film for that context. Everything else could be different family.
I remember reading something that pointed out, like, because everyone was talking about, is this canon? Is that canon? Blah, blah, blah. And in this movie, when you listen to the recordings, it talks about 3 volumes of the Book of the Dead. So it's talking about, or at least what I read, it was saying, it said 3 volumes, so you can have the book from Ash's universe, or book that Ash found, the book that they found inside the cabin, and the book that they found now. That's why they each 3 look different, because they're 3 different volumes. So now they're all canon. They're just 3 different books that are spread everywhere else.
That'd be kind of crazy. That's a great way to connect it. Like if you give the Necronomicon more than one book.
Yeah, so that's what it was saying, is that it had, or that's what I read. It was just like, that's why it mentions 3 volumes when you listen to the recording. It says there's 3 volumes of the Book of the Dead. And so each book is its own volume. So each book is just a book that got spread, whatever. Ash found one, these other people in this other cabin found one, and they found one just more recently. So that's all 3 volumes we're seeing. But how I took it when I first heard it, I was like, 3 volumes? So that means there's 2 more volumes to find. So that's 2 more movies to make.
Oh, yeah.
2 more other volumes to find that other people are going to find. Maybe even a 4th volume connecting all.
That's what I was going to say. Like, if you do other volumes, and like you're saying, there could be the one in the cabin, or like the from Ash's universe, which has the face on it, because it has the, that could be the connection. And if Bruce Campbell wants to reprise his role, because I know he retired the character of Ash, but if he, like Hugh Jackman also retired Wolverine in Logan, and he's coming back for Deadpool 3, so it's like, it could be done. We could have this crazy Evil Dead universe. All we can do now is sit back and hope.
That'd be like, I think that would be the coolest thing, is to like have 3 more movies, 1 for each volume, and then the last volume of the 3 people who found them, finding a way to like stop all the volumes, because like basically it's like almost everything's happening at the same time. It's time to open the gates of hell, basically. So by the end of like 3, the gates of hell are about to open, and then 4 happens, and it's, oh, did you know there was a last hidden book that stops all of this, and now everyone has to figure out a way to get that. Or maybe that's where Ash comes in, because
that's what I was gonna say. Like at the end of the movie, you're kind of like, they're piecing together that all these 3 films are going to connect, and then, but like who can stop this? And then we get that like cutscene where you just hear the chainsaw, his hand rev up, and you hear groovy or something like that, and boom, you already know that next film we're gonna get this connection. Bruce Campbell's sexy ass is gonna be on the screen, on the silver screen, and life's gonna be great. And as a fan, I'm just gonna die. In that movie, that's it. Like lived up to that and just die.
Yep, this is all. This is it.
Yeah.
Before we end it, y'all want to talk about you have any least favorite scenes? Anything y'all didn't like about it?
Anything I didn't like about it? I would say the only thing, and I mean, I'll probably have to rewatch it to see how I feel about it, but the first time around, I felt like it was such a forced kind of like way they found the book, and then a kind of he had to listen to it and had to do all this, and just for everything to start happening. And part of me is just like, well, that's how demons work. They get in your head, they make you do things you don't really want to do. They're influencing you in a bad way. I kind of just felt like it was like, who climbs into a hole after an earthquake? Like, like who does this shit? Like,
a 16-year-old kid.
I actually had that thought too. Like really like a random hole opens up, just so happens to be an old bank. I'm like, where's this connection coming from? It kind of just seems like it's there. But then when I watch it the second time, when they're sitting there at the table before the mom sends them to go get pizza, the little girl's crying, Cassie saying like, I had to build Staffney because this was built on an old bank. The apartment complex was built on an old bank, and in that bank it said that this man died, and that if you walk around with your change in your pockets, he'll hear it and then kill you and then take your money. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, so that's why when that part cracked open, it's a bank underneath. Because I overlooked it the first time I saw it, and I was like, why is it just like a random bank it's built on top of? Why is it that like the book's there? Why is it that the yeah? So I definitely had that same feeling. The second time watching it kind of eased that feeling for me, but I can definitely still agree with that though. The whole and then yeah, that demon was like, no, you can't turn this off. You're gonna listen. Like when it starts to say the.
And that's kind of the trouble. Not the trouble. Like you get this. Not, I wouldn't say arguments, but you get these arguments with action movies. There's like that movie didn't even have a story plot. It's like, dude, that wasn't even the point of the movie. The point of the movie is action.
Action, exactly.
Action.
Yeah.
Like, that's the point of the movie. It doesn't need a story plot. If it has more than 10 minutes of story plot, it's not an action movie. Like
that's how I feel when people tell me, I can't believe you're gonna go see another Fast movie. I'm like, dude, do you expect me to want an Oscar for this film? No. I want to sit there, stuff my face with popcorn, and get away from reality. Yes, I want to go and pay for a reality that doesn't exist for an hour and 30 minutes. Now leave me alone, and that's why I'm going to go see, that's why you go see certain films. I don't want to walk out like sitting there like, so what was the message though? What did it convey? How did that make me feel?
Family.
Like, no, it's not yeah, it's not a therapy session for me.
But no, I mean, absolutely. I honestly, I have this. Your exact words are what I tell people when they're like, "Oh, another Fast movie." I was like, "Have you seen any of the ones recently?" And he's like, "Yeah, they're getting more and more ridiculous." Yes, they are. But were you entertained when you watched it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're fun. I'm not. That's it. That's the point. There's nothing more than that. It's just
what you're paying to see. Exactly.
Like, they're not doing anything else but being entertained. Like, stop. You're overthinking. Oh, well, they're doing too much. And the last one they went to. I haven't seen the last one recently, but anyway, the last one they were in a rocket ship. Going.
Yeah, they did. The last one. They did make a rocket ship, and they did go to space.
And it's like,
Tej and Roman do go to space.
I'm gonna see these movies until they stop making them.
I'm the same way. I will sit there. You have my money. The same way people go sit through every Saw film, even though I've heard, that was not good as last one. You've already Nightmare on Elm Street, Jason films. You've already subscribed to one film. You ain't gonna stop. I saw every Wrong Turn movie, no matter how shitty they got, because I said I saw one. I'm gonna see them all. I don't expect an Oscar. I don't expect the actors to even remember their damn lines. But will I walk away saying, "Hey, that was entertaining. That was a movie. That world doesn't exist, and thank you for taking me out of the harsh reality that we live in now. Thank you for that." And that's what a movie's supposed to do. All right, so there you go. That's for every person out there that has something to say about certain movies. They're made to entertain, and that's what we're paying for.
Every Rock movie I'll go watch because he's entertaining.
Yeah, I don't care if The Rock can break down a door and he doesn't have superhuman strength in real life. I'm watching The Rock in this movie. If he decides to break the handcuffs, he can break the handcuffs. I don't care. This world doesn't exist.
I haven't seen every Rock movie.
So going back to that idea, it's the same. It's kind of how, like, when I thought about the movie, a horror movie is meant to horror eyes, or whatever, however you want to say it. Anyway, it's meant to scare. It's meant to be creepy. It's meant to make you feel uncomfortable. And they only have an hour and 30 minutes. So you're gonna spend, 30 minutes of an hour and 30 minutes trying to make a cohesive story, or are you gonna spend an hour and 20 minutes actually doing what people wanted to go see this movie for, to be creeped out, to be, horror, whatever, to be scared, to feel uneasy, all that stuff. I think, they did a perfect job. of just kind of giving you not really a big storyline and just kind of getting into the meat of everything, but also giving enough storyline for you to care about the characters, because that's a big thing too that people talk about is like, oh well, if you don't give a good enough storyline, you don't care about the characters. So when something bad happens to them, you don't really care that anything happened to them. But you kind of get the idea. They're a family. They love each other. They obviously bicker like brothers and sisters and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So when things bad start happening to them, their dad just left. You get just a little bit of like backstory is enough for you to be like, okay, this sucks for them, and now they're going through a demon in their house.
You got Beth coming because she figures out she's pregnant, needs the help of a big sister to figure out what to do in this situation. You got the big sister being like, yo, I called you 2.5 months ago for your help and you didn't show up. So you get this family drama and you got a story. I feel like you got a story. You got a story, you knew what was going on in the midst of a really shitty situation with the divorce and not being able to afford certain things. They pull that what's it called? They pull that thing. It's crazy. It's just it was there. The story's there. I have no complaints about that.
So
Story's
part of me, go back to what I was talking about, what I didn't like. I also do like that they just did it real quick. The kid found the book. He played the records, and everything bad started going to shit immediately.
Yeah.
And it was just like, all right, cool. Now we're getting to the meat of what I wanted to watch this movie for.
Yes.
And so it's all, to me, it seemed rushed, but also I understand why it was rushed. They have an hour and 30 minutes, and they want to start getting some good shit.
So, yeah, exactly.
So it's a good and bad on my sense. But if I were to say it had an extra 15 minutes, an hour and 45 minutes, then maybe we should have had a little bit more they could have sprinkled in. But it was an hour and 30-minute movie.
Yeah, agreed with that. Yeah, so maybe if they see, they hear this podcast, we'll definitely get a 2-hour movie for the next one. Because I love movies. When I see that it's 2 hours and 30 minutes, that doesn't even bother me. I get excited. I actually kind of get sad when I see that they are an hour and 30 minutes. I kind of question things. I'm like, ugh.
You know what it really is that you probably said it perfectly earlier. No movie has to have the same characters. Everything that links everything is the Necronomicons or the Book of the Dead. And I just want to know more about these books. I want to know more about what's inside of them, how they work, what kind of spells are really inside of them, what kind of things are really, in there. They don't ever really go super, super in depth into things except for Ash versus Evil Dead, where they show certain things and talk about certain things.
They explain it more.
But they could do that in movies too. And I want to know more about the Books of the Dead.
Yeah.
As a fan, I just want to know more about this artifact that you talk about in every single movie. Not that it's just this random book that's made out of human flesh, bound by demons and souls and all these things that we already know. Like,
yeah, that's true. So there you go. You just gave them another idea. They're gonna start working on a prequel as well. You've got to trademark this stuff. We got to get our money for this.
Necronomicon or Evil Dead prequel.
Or just like the Book of the Dead is the name of the movie, and people are like, "We're gonna go." Watch
that would be a crazy movie just to see the whole backstory of the book.
Yeah, how the binding of the skin on the book, why it was made like that. Why? Yeah, that could be a really messed up film. You just gotta like call up James Wan, Leigh Whannell, Lee Cronin, Sam Raimi. Just have all of them work on that. That'd. Yeah.
Tobey Maguire.
Damn, I'm gonna put some dirt in your book.
We go ahead and start ending it because I have work here in a little bit. But y'all can follow us on social media. Again, Wrestling Tacos is where I'm at. You can subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. You can follow my two good friends over here.
Sexy.
You can follow Manny on Instagram at
at Fresh TV 217. Would greatly appreciate the follow. I love all y'all.
You can follow Mr. Fuentes at
Mr. Fuentes. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. They're all at Mr. Fuentes 361. I also have a merch website that's put up about a month ago. It's MrFuentesIsDope.com. Nice. And you can check out merch and things if you want to check it out. And also my music. Just search Mr. Fuentes on anything and you'll find my stuff.
You will not be disappointed.
Also, I have
right now.
Sneak peek.
I was going to say, I also have a music video that just dropped a little less than a week ago that was edited by this man, shot and edited by this man up above me, Franco, and it came out beautiful. It was great. We had a good time, and it came out good. It was nice. Um, gonna have to keep spreading the word, and we're gonna keep making videos for all of y'all.
Yeah, check out Opinions on our YouTube channel right now. Opinions, Mr. Fuentes, and I usually don't plug stuff, but we have a couple of shows this weekend. We're at Wrestle Rave in Houston on Saturday. Y'all can catch us there if y'all go to shows, and on Sunday we'll be in San Antonio for United, and then we're busy for May. Like I think five or six shows in May. But we will be taking a break from this podcast. It will be seasonal podcast. Me and Manny will probably return August, September, around there. When does spooky season start? Around.
I would say like September, right? Because that's when people are like, it's basically Halloween.
Yeah.
September all the way, to the end of October. That's when everybody shoves pumpkins.
It runs until the end of December.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we'll probably be seasonal from September to December. For Friday the 14th, we only have 3 months. So we'll probably review a whole bunch of movies then. But until then, follow us everywhere. Subscribe, like, share, all that fun stuff. Catch y'all later. Peace.
Go watch Evil Dead Rise. Peace.
Love tacos.